With a deluge of falling stock prices, is there any gold in there? Are there any companies which are worth buying on that dip? And more broadly, how do you know when to buy a dip? So a very short 2-minute video give you years of experience. Okay, so let's look at something simple like a Microsoft, where we know it's not going to go bankrupt. We know we're not speculating on a turnaround situation. It's a pretty simple, easy case to start off with. And what's critical for me when I'm looking at these things is a couple of things. I want first of all, the weekly chart. Okay, so each one of these bars is 1 week. Now you can get this information from places like Google Finance or Yahoo Finance. Usually get this for free. I want a rising stochastic, which is a measure of momentum. I want a flat to rising MACD. So you see that MACD, that flat to rising, because that's a sign of momentum. Okay, so I want it flat, preferably going in the direction of rising. So I've marked some of them there, but that's not all. I need that stochastic to be rising, but equally that's not all for an entry point. I also want the monthly bars. See those? Those are monthly. Again, rising stochastic and a flat MACD. So now this is where it gets interesting. Rising stochastic, flat MACD only comes in there. So we can't get in there because obviously we have to wait for that monthly bar to close before we got that data which relates to it. So it would have to be here. We'd be getting in pretty much here. Okay, which is not bad. It's pretty close to the low. Similarly, that's rising, that's still falling a bit, so we're probably having to wait a little bit until we've got both flat on one, rising on the other, and we're assuming the weekly is also doing the same. So taking that, so we'd have to look at the switch across to the weekly. We'd be looking to get in there or around here, which again is not bad. You're right near the low. Now, what does that mean for the moment? Well, for the moment, we're nowhere near that kind of condition being met. So if you were timing it, that you wouldn't be getting into this right now. So you might say to me, whoa, this is new, this is complicated. Well, actually, it's not new or complicated. The thing is, I also ideally want this situation to be where the broader market is not falling. I want to be buying into a stock in the direction of a longer term trend, and I want the fundamentals to be solid. Now, most people are too time poor to be doing this. They don't have the time to go through this, okay, which is fair enough. So in their case, they can either pound or dollar cost average. Example, they could buy a third of Microsoft this month, a third next month, or they could just say, you know what, I'll wait till there's an up month, because that's probably when the monthly MACD is flat and the stochastic is rising. It's not always the case, and weekly doing the same. I will try on my Great Investments program on my approved filtered list to go through every single one of the approved filtered list stocks and mark out which ones meet these conditions. Particularly, I think, because at this time people will especially appreciate that when they're looking at buying dips. But that was just an insight into buying dips. If you did have the inclination to time, most won't. What most would sensibly do is say, well, I'll just wait for an up month to be completed, 1 month where that stock that I was looking at has gone up. Or I'll buy a third this month, third next month, third the month after. Hopefully this has given you a bit of an insight into how do you know when to buy and when things have slowed down. Okay, thank you very much.